The golf tournament scene is kind of gone bonkers, in my opinion. A lot of these guys in the golf are betting 60 grand every single weekend.
Holy smokes.
If the world comes in, you need to sell it. What does that look like? Just a finite number of high-end custom boat builders.
Wow.
After about 10 minutes, and I said, "This is the one. Let's make an offer." So you bought it for $1 million and then put $1 million in it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, if not more.
Yeah, at least.
And how did it start out? Like, what was the origin story?
Too much alcohol.
Really? Okay.
Says if God wanted us to have fiberglass boats, he would have given us fiberglass trees.
It's for fishermen. It's not for taking the wife and the wife's friends.
I think that it's a really, really pretty boat.
And then there was a blur that went by and ended up in the cockpit, as far as if I can remember correctly.
Good morning, everyone. This is Leo from State of Sportfishing podcast. We're joined by the regular crowd. We have Bob, we have Mark with us, and we have guest host Dewey as well. And for our main guest, we have another than Chris Haley from Skin Deep Sportfishing. We just received the 75 Ricky Scarborough. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, great to be here.
So, Chris, how did the program start?
Well, I grew up fishing, and family had smaller boats, and I bought my first, I'll call it larger boat, back in 07, 08. It was a outboard express boat, and traveled and fished it hard and ran it myself, and kind of was ready to take the next step. And I knew I needed a captain to help go to the next step. And I started shopping, and oh gosh, 4 months going to boat shows, shopping, and I had my eye on the 63 Scarborough. It was sitting in Wanchese, and it was tired. It had not been used much, and it was a 2000 model, and flew up the Wilmington with my broker and looked at a couple of boats in that area and drove to Wanchese, and we got on it. And after about 10 minutes, and I said, "This is the one. Let's make an offer."
Holy
It needed a
smokes.
lot of love. I mean, it new curtains, new soft goods. It needed a lot. So we bought it right, and that was in the end of 2012. So we did a minor refit, if you will, I guess, at the Blue Water Yard there. Jim Pilati was running that. He was an ex Scully guy, and he's now at Allen Boatworks, and was great helping me, holding my hand with my first sort of project. And we took that straight to the Bahamas in February of 13, March of 13. And so we had her 12 and a half years and traveled 2 seasons, the DR, Abacos. So we've been around, and hired the captain I have now, Kyle Smith, who is actually, Bob, a ex-Venice charter captain.
Oh, no kidding.
And he actually lived in a travel trailer in Venice for a while.
Well,
So he's very well connected with all those guys. He's friends with Rimmer and Kevin, and
Watch out.
yeah. So it's been fun to get to know some of those guys and hear
Yeah,
some of the
that's
stories
cool.
back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your first boat? This smaller center console, was that also a custom boat?
No. It was actually a Pursuit 375.
Yeah, you said it had outboards on it?
Yeah, it's like a big Grady White. It was a 37-foot Pursuit, triple 350s. I put a tower on it, and it was a good owner operator boat. We drove the oil spill year, which was 2010. We drove the thing from Orange Beach to the Bahamas, through the lake and all down through the Bahamas, and spent 6 weeks down there traveling. And shortly after that, I realized it was, we were ready to step up into something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, those extensive trips will really highlight that. What business are you in?
I'm in the real estate development business.
Okay, cool.
And my wife is a dermatologist, and that's where the boat name comes from.
I figured there'd be some kind of skin doctor involved. Yeah, right on.
There's always a little story.
There's a story. We often
Yeah.
get asked if we're
Love
in the
that.
porn business or
Uh,
some kind of sketchy. People's mind go to the gutter, I guess.
I'll tell you where my mind went, and it wasn't the gutter. So it would have been probably a pretty, I don't know, silly story if this were the case, but I was like, oh, Skin Deep, it's a beautiful boat. Beauty is only skin deep. Oh,
Yeah.
that was my
Well,
assumption,
that's kind
but
of the play, in dermatology.
yeah.
And anyway, it's it's hard when you're trying to name a boat, and we had 50 different names and trying to have a play on. Everybody does real something, right? Half the people in the boating business seem to be in the real estate business somehow.
Yeah. That's a pretty big jump you made.
Yeah, oh yeah. My broker said, "Are you
It's like
sure about
apples and
this?"
orangutans there.
And we looked at some stuff in the 50s, and we made an offer on a 60 Hatteras, but I really wanted a custom boat, and we just bought this thing right. We bought it for less than $1 million, and back in the day, and we piled a ton of money. We did more to that boat. We added Seakeeper, Sonar, new electronics. It was a day boat. It was not set up to travel. So we had ice chipper, water maker, underwater lights. We did pretty much everything you could do to the boat.
Wow.
So you bought it for $1 million and then put $1 million in it.
Yeah,
pretty
That's what it
much.
sounds
at
like.
least.
Yeah, if not more.
The remarkable thing about a custom boat is it really holds its value. And we put 8,000 hours on the boat. We rebuilt the motors. It's the C34. The 3412Es. The first year of the digitally controlled 3412s, and they're great motors. And she's still kicking. We sold it to a guy from Texas. Super guy, Carl Menchaca, the triple C's, and he had a Spencer boat before, and he'd gotten out of the boating world for a few years and jumped back in. And ironically, we've become friends. He was in Abacos this spring, texting me every day. They've been piling them up, and they've been having a good time. He texted me last night. They're in Crooked Island right now and caught a couple of blue ones, and
Nice.
so he put a bunch of money, took the tower off, new hard top, and did a kind of a minor refit on it, and she keeps rolling.
Right on.
They're timeless, even when you look at the Big O, and they really hold their own looks wise, and they just always
there's
look
certain
good.
boats that I kind of put it up there with certainly some of the Spencer boats. The 61 Garlington is kind of an iconic hull.
Yes.
And the 63 Scarborough, they didn't make a whole lot of them. It was an original Ricky Senior boat, and frame boat. It was just built rock solid, and it's got the older school broken shear line and the sort of boxy house, but a lot of people like that. And matter of fact, Ricky's building a boat right now. They're behind me. That's got a slightly broken shear line. That's sort of old school Ricky look.
Yeah,
Cool.
timeless. At what point did you get into tournament fishing? Are you still actively trying to tournament fish?
Yeah, the Gulf tournament scene has kind of gone bonkers, in my opinion. It's we fish 3 or 4 tournaments every season, and it's me and my buddies and my boys. I've got boys that are now 24 and 26, and I've taken some of their buddies, and we'll take a second mate, but we're not a full paid crew like a lot of these teams are, and it's a hobby. And we want to be competitive, and we want to win some money, and we have. We won the Wharf tournament, the Blue Marlin Grand Championship. We've won the Masters tournament. We've hung a few big fish up, but I'm not betting super heavy. A lot of these guys in the Gulf are betting 60 grand every single weekend, and
Crazy.
taking 5 paid crew and the owner, and that's like a NASCAR team or something. I'm out there, we're having a good time, we're cooking, we're drinking, just it's supposed to be a hobby, and it's fun
supposed
to
to
be
be
competitive,
fun.
but
Yeah.
right. And so we're trying to find the balance of how to do that and still compete. We built this new boat with plenty of fuel and speed, but last weekend all the boats ran 250, 280 miles one way, and they're carrying an extra 1,000 gallons of fuel. The fuel bill alone in those tournaments are 50 grand now with where diesel is, and I don't want to do that. It's just gotten to be too much that people run. These tournaments are 2.5 days long. The crew's exhausted. I fished Pirates Cove last year with my buddies in the bullpen, and it sure is
cool
nice
one.
to leave the dock at 6 a.m. and be back by 5 and have a cocktail with your buddies and eat dinner. And
That's right.
everybody's kind of fishing the same box, you know. Every tournament I fished in, I fished Hawaii, East Coast tournaments, Bahamas tournaments, and everybody has the boundaries except the Gulf. And so I wish the Gulf would get back, you know, get a tournament or two where you had even 100-mile boundary.
Yeah, 100-mile line,
and
something. Yeah,
and go. I like dink bait fishing. It puts more angler skill back in the equation, and I'm active in the cockpit. I mean, I'm holding a rod whether we're dink bait fishing or live bait fishing. Like to hook the fish, and to me, light tackle fishing is just more challenging. But very few
absolutely
boats are
right.
doing it in the Gulf. I just don't see a lot of it.
Yeah. Have you been over to the Central American Pacific with your boat or on another boat? Done any of the
I
Mag Bay
have.
stuff?
I fished over there a good bit. I've been to Las Vegas since the year after it opened, just chartering, and then I've kind of, as I've owned boats, you kind of get to know people, and you know, hop on with a private program. And I fished in Capos for the first time last year on the Electric Bill with a buddy that owns that boat in the little Florida Canya tournament there. I've not done much tournament fishing there, but just vacation fishing. And but we've done a fad trip out of Las Vegas and caught 29 blue marlin in a fad trip, and so I've experienced all that. I've been to Tropic Star as a guest of the lodge, and then I've also been on two different private boats. Um, so I've I actually went on a quest with my oldest son trying to get his Royal Slam before he turned 17 as a junior, and so we've been down there a few times chasing black marlin for him.
Have you made it to Cabo yet?
I have fished Cabo on just a Conte or Pisces, one of those Cabo charter boats, and caught 4 or 5 stripies, but that's the extent of what I've done. I want to go to Mag Bay. I don't think I'll take my boat there. I've actually had to cancel 2 different Mag Bay trips for various business reasons. And we're talking about doing Panama this winter. Um, I really I fished on the Miss Ma'am, a buddy's boat from home this past winter down there, and caught a bunch of blue ones, and actually completed my Royal Slam there, catching a black one. So I like staying at Peñas, and I want to go fish Hannibal Bank too. So I want to go try all that soon.
When you take
very
your
cool.
boat over there, I would assume you have to stay over there for a certain amount of time or run a certain amount of tournaments over there to make the whole ordeal worth it. How long is that? Are you going over there for 6 months? You going over there for 1 month?
Well, I mean, there are people that do it for a month, but I mean, just whether you put it on a ship and spend 60, 70, 80 grand, or you run it on its own bottom and spend that in fuel, it's an expensive proposition to get over there. And then, the real world calls. So, I mean, how many trips can you do in a 2-month time period, a 3-month time period? So you got to find that balance. And that's probably what's holding me back is, do I want to ship it over there for a whole season? Or we really like that because we spent a lot of time at Sea Spray. It's kind of like family. I've gotten to know the owners well. We've been going there for 10 years, 15 years, and we're the first boat back in there after the storm. Dorian hit there, so it's kind of our second home. So we would like to be back there in the spring. So that may hold us back from doing Panama.
Well, I think Mark and I would probably both highly encourage you to get over there.
Yeah,
it's worth doing. If it ain't now, definitely worth doing down
At
the road
some point. Yeah.
over to Cabo and Mag Bay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that
At some point.
even and the beauty part of that is even right out front, you don't got to run 60, 80, 100 miles necessarily. You can go catch 17, 25, 10, 12. You can go have double digit days almost any day out there.
You can leave the
you know,
dock.
looking right at the arc. So,
And
Well, that's the beauty of the Bahamas too. I mean,
Yeah.
I was down there this past week on our maiden voyage, and we left each morning at 8 o'clock, and we had probably 4 or 5 shots of blue ones each day, and we ran 8 miles, and so that's part of the appeal. If you want to come back at 2 and jump in the center console and go sandbar, and there's plenty of options.
that's right. All right. When was the last time you were at Sea Spray?
Monday.
Okay, cool. What is it? It's probably been about 8 months since I was there. Do they have any more infrastructure built up at the actual marina location yet?
They've got the new bar and pool built. They did a great job with it. They're building out the kitchen now. They've got one house complete and about 3 or 4 more well underway.
Nice.
It's kind of back to kind of being the social hub of the island, and it was we had a great week there. It was kind of spur of the moment. We were taking delivery of the boat. We were supposed to go fish the Biloxi tournament, and Kyle called me and it's like, man, we're gonna be cutting it close to make it, and the weather looks crappy. Well, let's do a little left-hand detour. And so I flew to Palm Beach, Uber to Stewart, and I crossed with the boys and cleared at Spanish, and we were fishing, and we caught a blue one within the first 3 hours on the new boat, which was kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard to beat that.
Wow.
Epic.
How'd you catch it? Was it a teaser bite?
It was a teaser bite.
There you go.
The thing we were giggling about the boat is we had probably 4 different fish tease all the way to the corner, chasing either the dredge or the squid chain, not scared of the boat. And they're mostly little fish, but they're great for catching on 20 or 25. And so all the ones we caught were small, and all caught them either 20 or 25s.
Excellent.
Awesome. So when you built the boat, what was that like? It's the first custom boat you've built from scratch.
Right.
What was that experience like?
I when we started talking about building the boat 6 years ago, we I called around a few builders to kind of see who's had availability about the process. And I mean, I always thought Ricky would be the logical choice, but he had a pretty good backlog at the time. And I remember calling Mark Willis twice, left 2 voicemails, one on a personal phone. I didn't get a phone call back.
No kidding.
I called and talked to the guys at Bayless, and they're like 9-year wait and something crazy. And I think I talked to Randy at Jarrett Bay, but I came back to Ricky. He and I mean, he takes care of his boats. I mean, he had no reason to take care of a 20-year-old boat, but he's always accommodated us with questions. And so I put a deposit down and waited. It was at the time, it'll be about a 2-year wait before we could start, and an estimated 3-year build time. And I actually had an opportunity to take over an F&S build and went deep down that path. And for various reasons, I pulled out of that. And like a week later, Ricky called me and said, I got good news. The guy in front of you is not ready. You want to start tomorrow? Wow. And I said, sure. And he said, we hadn't even decided exactly what size we were going to build. We hadn't really started designing. He said, I can start tomorrow if you'll do another 75, because he had the jig from the game time. And I said, deal. And we got busy, the hull's the hull, right? We got busy designing the interior, and we had to start talking about motors. And
nice.
What motors did you put in that boat?
We put the M96Ls, the 2600 MTUs. We were cat all the way. I was a cat guy. And at the time they had just launched that motor when I kind of had to make the decision, and there were some issues with that third turbocharger and just little stuff, but it kind of was a little apprehensive. And started thinking about resale value, and everybody wants speed. And I thought if the boat can accommodate the M96, and if all these other custom builders and Viking that's all they're using, then we decided to go that route.
It's a good motor.
It's a good motor, and now they got a lot of infrastructure built up around that motor too.
Exactly. I mean, my logic was there's so many of them in service now. Every big Viking has them, and there's enough mechanics and technicians and parts that they're going to be serviceable pretty much anywhere.
It might not be cheap, but it is accessible, which is big.
Exactly.
Do you have someone in Orange Beach that works on them and has like parts in inventory?
Yeah, there's a few guys. Saunders is there. I've got to be buddies with David Finkelstein, who owns now the Triple S, and he owns Pensacola Shipyards that he just bought a couple of years ago. And they've got a MTU shop there, so we've got choices. When the boat just got home yesterday, so we hadn't needed any service work yet.
So I don't know if you heard the same thing. I don't know if I'm breaking some kind of revolutionary news here, but I was at Willis doing some work the other day, and they got I'm not even sure what size hull it is in the shed, but it's just the hull, and maybe the sides of the house are put on. But the guy that was working there said that's the last one that they're going to do. Once that boat's finished, they're done building boats.
Well, Brooks Smith bought the operation, and we had
Yep.
spent a lot of years at American Custom having service work done, and we got to know Dominic and a lot of the Dom Jr. and
Oh
they were a
yeah.
great outfit. And then it sold, and then Mark wasn't around long, and he and Brooks, I guess, parted ways. And I don't know any of the
Yep.
story there. And
I heard the same.
I was curious that they're going to keep building boats, and so that's news to me. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're beautiful boats.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of my theories when I was really wrestling with how putting all this money into a crazy nice custom build was, if the world comes in, you need to sell it. What does that look like? And I'm an economics major and a business guy, and I just simple supply and demand, right? There's just a finite number of high-end custom boat builders cranking out boats, and they're building bigger and bigger ones, so they're putting out less numbers. Paul Mann's out of the game now, and Garlington doesn't seem to be building a whole lot of boats, and Spencer and Jarrett Bay are all building kind of the same numbers, Ricky Bayless, and so there seems to be an increasing demand and a at least stable supply. And it's just they keep holding their value. The boat behind me sold mid build, and it's that winter boat, I think it's called the Miss Carey, sold almost at the end of the build, and the numbers are pretty amazing.
It's pretty incredible what's happened to the value in the last 6 years.
It is absolutely insane. I was working on a boat that was it was splashed around 8.5, 9, and we had a very serious verbal offer from a guy who came fishing with us for 13.
Wow.
Like 4 years after the boat was built.
We had another friend that had somebody walk down the dock and offer him, a similar
significant profit,
significant number, over what it would cost to build it again.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, if you want to pay me that much, you can have it.
Right, everything's for sale, huh?
That's right.
Sure.
The right number.
You throw the right number out, sure.
It's but look, and the other thing is these build lists are so long. You call Ricky right now, it's probably a 5-year wait if we'll even take a deposit. Bayless, all of them. And so
that's crazy.
John told me you can't even get on the list.
Yeah, and I think Duffy's about the same way. I just don't.
Probably
they're so committed that and they're selective. They want to work with the right people, and a lot of times they want to work with a repeat customer.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I was listening to your podcast you did with John Floyd at FNS, and a lot of what he said is they can kind of pick and choose their clients, and
it's a pretty incredible spot to be in, if you ask me.
it is.
That's a big commitment for them as well.
Absolutely.
And the challenging, y'all know what's going on with the inflationary pressures and just everything in the boat world is going up.
Mm-hmm.
Every
and
component.
You're talking about a 5-year wait, and by the time 5 years rolls around, all of a sudden it's like, listen, boss, stuff got a little more expensive.
And not a little more. When you're talking resin prices are doubling and tripling, that's
what I
the
said,
foundation
Mark.
of the entire
a little
boat.
more.
It's insanity.
But it's a fun process. I enjoyed it. In my business, I deal with design and contractor and construction all day long, and so I kind of nerd out a little bit on the kind of the interior design and space planning and the what's going on in the cockpit storage wise and fishing wise. And my captain's phenomenal. Ricky asked us to each send him a list of wants and wishes, and he had like an 8-page list of I want chamois mock stored here, and deep drop weights here, and we we spent a whole lot of time laying it out, and he moved to Wanchese pretty much for 6 months and was there every day, and it's as much his boat as it is mine, I feel, and he thinks of it that way too, and it was a fun process. At the end, it was a little stressful. You're ready for it to be done, and
How long did
Ricky's
it end up taking?
almost exactly 3 years to the day. The frustrating part for me is from what I saw, the interior of the boat, exterior of the boat, it looked done, right? And I kept calling Ricky going, man, when are we leaving? Like, what's the holdup? And I think there's an article in The Bite or some article I read recently talked about good builders wait, and they wait till all the systems work. You go through the chillers, you go through the seakeeper, you go through the chipper and the water maker. And I got a little impatient towards the end. And to Kyle's credit, he's like, we're not leaving. We're not coming back. So we're going to get this thing dialed in. And, I missed the sea spray tournament. I missed, some trips to the Bahamas and all that. But at the end, it was the right move and the right call to get it done right. And I mean, on our shakedown cruise, uncanny how well it went and how few things. We've got a little small punch list, but it's nothing to it.
God bless.
You said chillers. Y'all put a chiller system in that boat?
We did. We got 2 chillers, a closed loop system with glycol. We really had to push to do that. And so far, knock on wood, it's good. It's everybody tells you just if you can keep the raw water out of those AC units and anything that's water cooled, you keep the growth away. And the downside is that we've got huge power requirements on that boat. We've got 2 large generators, 250 amp, and we've got tons of refrigeration. We've just got a lot of things pulling amperage.
A lot of power.
And so, yeah. And so that's probably been the biggest challenge is how much
managing that power,
the electrical work, and making sure we're not tripping breakers, and we packed a lot of stuff in there.
I'm assuming that means you have to run 2 generators when you're off the dock.
Yeah, if we're just day fishing, but we fire the grill up or the oven, or somebody goes to wash clothes, or you start running stuff that's sort of not normal fishing, that you gotta put a second generator on.
Yeah,
but
my boat's the exact same way.
Yeah,
except
for sure
I don't have a washing machine. But if you want to fire the grill up, we're running 2 generators.
Yeah, it's part of it. We had to do it on the old boat. We had 2 generators, and we're cooking a lot. We got air fryer going at night when we're laid up at the Gulf. Fishing on overnighter, the grill gets fired up. Somebody hits the microwave or the air fryer, and you got to fire up the second generator.
Are there any things that you went with and any options on this build where you think that it's a very unique choice and you don't see it often, or did you go with pretty much the tried and true standard outfit?
I pushed on a couple of things. On the inside, I hate bunk beds, even though I'm sleeping in the master usually. Just none of my guys, my kids included, nobody likes the top or bottom bunk. And so we have a queen. It's literally between a queen and a king, forward of the VIP. Same in the master, and then we've got 2 side-by-side twin beds in the crew quarter and the guest room, and that took a little creativity. I really pushed on their designers to, on some of the Viking boats, they have a sort of a crew quarters no, we didn't do a Pullman. Now, we looked at doing a Pullman to add a 3rd berth, the crew quarter, but we dropped the floor a little bit on the starboard side and tucked the crew quarters back under the companionway stairs, like you see on like a Viking 64, I think, and a couple of Viking boats, where one of the bunks is kind of down at floor level and tucks on the companionway stairs. And so we pull the companionway stairs forward, and then we snake the companionway forward in kind of an S curve to make room for the side-by-side bunks forward, starboard side. And we lost a head. I decided to do a Jack and Jill head. So the head on the starboard side, the 2 twin rooms share a head, and we had 9 people living on the boat this past week while we were at Sea Spray, and the 2 mates are on the sofa, but other than that, everybody had a bed and comfortable, and it was very livable with that many people.
Yeah, right on.
It's awesome.
The cockpit that we had 20 tuna tubes, so our kill box is stash full of tubes. We got dual pool pumps, so there's a lot that goes on with that. It's got its own little sea chest and baffle system, some other bells and whistles to keep live baits alive. They have dual grills in the cockpit, which is not that unusual. We did a tackle room instead of a day head, so we've got a big pantry at the forward behind the galley, the bulkhead, the galley, and on the starboard side, where most people are putting a day head, is our tackle room, and we did big built-in drawers with Plano boxes, and we've got 680s in there, 450s, all our teaser rods. This guy from South Florida came and put it all together, so I've got all cork walls. And my thoughts were, and we did pre-plumb it for a head in case down the road I want to convert it, but I didn't want tackle being carried down the companionway and banging into walls and floors. And then we've got the raised dinette, so we can put 830s underneath the big pull-out drawer, and they're made up. So, we're not breaking tackle down all the way down every time, which is nice.
Epic. Did you, since it sounds like you were very involved in your design and build here, did you find any little voids or nooks and crannies to
I've got stuff
hide
stashed
anything
everywhere.
else?
I've got wine bottles stashed everywhere, and liquor storage, and it's we used every square inch for sure.
That's awesome.
What's something that you designed in that boat that's different than the usual, besides the bunk bed?
We did a lot of refrigeration up in the bridge ahead of the console. We pushed the L-shaped sofa. We've got a traditional peninsula style helm, and we've got a very large freezer and a very large fridge box up there. We've got a drink box. We got a sink up there that may or may not be able to function as a urinal. That's what I thought you were going to say. And the other thing we did in the cockpit is, we went with the Seakeeper 40 and a decent amount of fuel, and so there's no room for fish boxes in the deck. And we do catch some large tunas, as y'all know, in the Gulf, and we want to be able to not have to deal with fish bags with big tuna. So we actually deepened the seat of the mezzanine, and we have a very, very big fish box. The whole seat opens up. It's pretty cool. And that was really Kyle's idea, I think. And we had to push the envelope with Ricky. And a couple of bonus features is that when we did that, we lost about 8 inches of depth, and we struggled about having a super deep mez cushion backs. And we ended up furring out between the back window, the salon, in the back, and that's the sort of the baffle system for our AC for the mez. And we've also got a flip up rod storage behind there. So when we're catching live baits, we use these small jigging rods and reels, and rather than storing them on the bridge, we've got them stored behind the mez cushion, the back seat. So it gives kind of created some bonus storage space by doing all that.
Nice.
So it's just those unique things you kind of scheme up in your head, and collaborative effort between Kyle and Ricky and Lee Griggs, his design guy, and we found a way to, that's why you make it custom. You make it yours. We wanted to be able to put a few large tunas in a box, and that was the only place we could put it.
I personally would really love to see that one day. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I think we're going to get the boat professionally photographed soon, and so we'll make sure we get some shots of sort of those unique custom features. But when I tell you, when you start designing, everything is custom. Like Ricky will say, "Well, what kind of doorknobs do you want?" I don't know. What do you normally do? You know what kind of whisper
Wow.
wall do you want? I mean, literally everything
Wow.
you pick out.
That's very difficult.
Over the build period, I would go to Palm Beach and Lauderdale boat shows constantly, and I would go on every Viking boat. I would go on every custom boat on the market and take pictures and make notes and open hatches. And I mean, just what kind of pulls do you want on the cabinets? What do you want the upper cabinets to have visible knobs or hidden knobs? I mean, this list goes on, and it's daunting, but at the same time, it's kind of cool. It's yours. You build it exactly the way you want to build it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is
And
daunting. I mean, think about it. It's a lot of work.
well, my first question was always, give me some reference photos on the last 3 builds. What did they do? And kind of start there, and then some Googling and reading, and you look to other builders' websites. And I mean, there's plenty of times I was on Bayless's website looking at how he did a certain feature on the inside, and it's time consuming, but kind of fun at the same time when you make it truly your boat.
Yeah, of course. And why no tower?
We hardly ever used our tower. We used to do a lot of sight fishing, cobia fishing, running the beach and the Panhandle, and that fisheries. Although this year they caught a few, but it's kind of died off. And with Sonar, it's just the tower guy. I mean, if you're hardcore, I know they're in the Costa Rican tournaments, they still have, tower guys, but we're not fishing that hardcore bait fishing tournament scene. And certainly you don't need it when you're live bait in the Gulf. And so we just weren't using it. And I told Drew at Palm Beach Towers, hey, let's make sure we build this. And Ricky, let's build this boat. If I want to add a tower in the future, or the next owner wants to add a tower, it's not super difficult, but it's an extra couple $100,000 and extra weight, extra drag, and more to wash and chamois.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, you're seeing more and more boats built without a tower these days. And I am a traditionalist, so, and Ricky is too. He really likes a tower boat. So, I won't say he was resistant. He just kind of like, are you sure you want to go this route? And we did. And so the boats, they built the tower, I mean, the hardtop kind of a little bit lower. So the boat's kind of got a unique sort of wide, squatty look to it. If you really study it, it's kind of bulky. Anyway, it's just, he put a little more flair in this boat than he did the last 75. So we think it's got a cool look.
You think by not putting the tower on it, you increase the chances of resale? Not necessarily the value, but the options that people have by not putting a tower on it?
Yeah. Are you saying does it hurt? It may eliminate a few guys who.
It may help because somebody that doesn't want a tower has
doesn't have to cut it off.
Or somebody that wants one is like, oh man, I can add a custom tower to this. So you kind of have the best of both worlds. Whereas when you put a tower on it, if a guy doesn't want a tower, he's on to the next boat.
Yeah, look at the Haruka.
Yeah, they took the tower off that boat. My old boat,
crazy.
My old boat, they chopped the tower off, and it looks awesome. And to each his own. I think you're seeing more 50-50 where people like either of the looks when historically it's been tower, and I just think it's
I think no tower's coming back.
Yeah,
that's
honestly,
kind of my point, Dewey. It's you're seeing
no tower's coming back, baby.
The crew loves it. I mean, it's just much less to wash and chamois.
Yeah,
it's huge.
And polish and wax.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And a whole nother helm system to maintain upstairs and continuously keep up with.
Less electronics, less steering, less throttle. I mean, there's a lot less. I mean,
more
you start adding
speed too, right?
More speed.
We thought we would pick up speed,
less drag.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's a material difference. We're a little faster than the game time that had a tower. We got a little more horsepower, and we're still getting wheel work done and getting dialed in. And we want the CJR running gear, all the wake adjusted stuff, and whether it's true or not, everybody says those are beefier props and they're smoother. But if you want true speed, if you get a set of Eames, you're going to pick up maybe up to 2 knots.
What about your rudder system? Is that the
Yeah, we did the
that
wake
new-
adjusted rudder that got
yeah.
the contours, and I'm gonna tell you that this boat is quiet and smoother than anything I've ever been on. The engines with all the emission controls now, I mean, it is so crazy quiet. The first time we were pushing off the dock, I thought Kyle was telling us to untie without the motor started. I literally didn't think they were running. I thought it was a generator.
Wow.
And smooth and it backs great. I mean, Kyle will drive pretty aggressively on them, and I mean it spins, it backs up. And I mean, it's a 75-foot boat. It's not as nimble as the old one, but it'll get after it pretty good.
I often wonder about the smoothness because we came up with a term, the jiggle, where you fill up a bucket of water on. This is from a '57 Dean Johnson. Fill up a bucket of water and put it on the deck, and when that water is dancing, it's a frequency that I can't explain any other way. But if that water is dancing, we call it the jiggle, and it's like, all right, we're good today. Like they're gonna chew the transom off, and I wonder about that frequency, whatever that is.
Yeah, who
if
knows?
everything's so smooth,
everybody
it's still a wood boat.
Goes
so
out there on day one and catches a teaser blue marlin right off the
3
exhaust.
hours.
Four
That's
teaser fish. Like
we saw the fish teasing the boat the first 2 days. I was like, all right,
it works.
There's no everybody thinks the water maker makes a noise, or you got to change your cutlass bearings every 6 months. I mean, there's a lot of theories about whether a boat raises fish and sounds right, and
my cutlass bearings
haven't
haven't been changed in 3 years.
Man, when you're not getting bites, you'll find any excuse why.
Anything.
Like
turn the other generator on.
Man,
turn the water
bridge
maker off.
The bridge
turn both
refrigeration's
generators
making
on.
a weird
the Seakeeper.
Yeah.
The Seakeeper's whining.
Did you turn on the Seakeeper today?
You have nothing, no time. You have all the time to think about why this is not working.
A funny story on this first trip. I crossed with the crew and fished today, and my buddy's flying in. One of them's got a nice airplane, and the Seakeeper was overheating. So we called our local Seakeeper dealer in Orange Beach, Josh Tice, and said, "Hey, can we fly one of your mechanics down and let him work on this thing?" And this guy's from Tennessee originally, moved to Gulf Shores not long ago, and been out of the country once. And we told him to show up at the Fairhope Airport, and he got on the private jet, flew to the Bahamas, hopped on the boat. First 3 hours, we hook a fish, and I said, "Zach, get your ass down here in the cockpit. You're catching a blue marlin today."
Heck yeah.
And he'd never been offshore fishing, and we put a rod in his hand, and
come on,
Kyle backed hard on it, got him soaking wet.
That's awesome.
He was grinning ear to ear.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure his damn cheeks hurt the whole way home. He's smiling the whole way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
His mind was blown for sure.
Spine so big.
That's cool.
Talking about Seakeepers, I will say I have been on 2 boats. One was, I'll just call it my boat. One was another boat that I fished a tournament on that had the bearing go bad, and you could hear the whine from the Seakeeper on the dock. And we were in a fleet, fishing was good, and like rigger to rigger fishing, and everybody, I mean, it seemed like 10 other boats around me were stuck in reverse.
That surprised me.
And I couldn't get a bite. And it was like, dude, I'm telling you, the Seakeeper something's wrong. Next day, it's flat calm. We don't need it on. I'm turning this thing off. And we caught like 3 or 4 blue marlins.
Wow.
There is absolutely something to it.
There's something to it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more than nothing. And I think it's a little more than a little less than everything.
Yeah. But there's something to it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Mark, those are one
Dude,
liner.
I
You just
got
roll off your
them
tongue,
lined
huh?
up. I got a whole list of them right here. Look.
Wow. Okay. So, Chris, what's the next step with the boat? Are you guys just gonna sort of do what you've done the past few years, or are you gonna? You
We
said
built this to
Panama, maybe?
travel. I've mentioned 2 older boys, and I've got an 18-year-old daughter. They all love it. We all like to kind of camp on the boat, and my wife really enjoys kind of going down southern Bahamas and doing, cat and long and crooked. And so we're only staying in the Gulf for, gosh, a month and a half. We're going to fish Destin next weekend, ECBC, may fish Bay Point, and then I've got a vacation planned in um, late July. The boat's going to head when I leave to down that way, and we're going to fish our way south. And we're registered for the Scrub Island BVI tournament. It's a 6-day tournament.
Cool.
Good
St.
time.
Thomas. St. Thomas is one place I have not fished. I've been to the BVI's a bunch. So we're going to do that and fish a couple of moons there, and then we're headed to St. Lucia for the winter, late fall.
Wow.
Seems to be there 4 or 5 boats that I know of that are friends of ours that are kind of on the same circuit. So should be a good time. And we've talked about going from there due west to Panama. It's kind of a non-traditional route to get over there, but we hadn't made that decision. Likely we'll come straight back up to Sea Spray, and the fishing's been decent there in earlier in the season, February, and so
Did you ever
we may just come back
figure
up
out
there.
how to make the time for it? That island chain, like the whole way down. I had the opportunity, whatever. We took a mothership and went down basically to every one of those islands, and it took like 9 months, and just Blue Marlin fished every day. And
Are you talking about down through the
yeah,
Caribbean,
like Guadalupe, St. Bart's, all that.
I
The
got you.
fishing, obviously, I wouldn't go tie up unless you could get a mooring ball at St. Bart's, but I would not recommend men mooring at St. Bart's, but you could tie up at St. Martin.
Yeah.
And fish the same stuff, but that can be some absolutely spectacular big fish fishing.
Yeah.
That's where I saw the biggest blue marlin I might never see in my life was down there. So
we'd like to explore some of that area, and I've been to a lot of those islands on vacation, but I want to see it from the water and see the fishing and go exploring. So that's good advice. We'll check it out.
An often understated aspect of especially our Caribbean, that we have such easy access to. It's just strikingly beautiful too. If you're down in St. Lucia and fishing sucks, you're in the most picturesque island paradise. The Bahamas are great, but those southern Caribbean islands, they're like with the mountains and everything. It's another layer of beauty. It's really cool.
Volcanoes.
That's awesome. And are you guys gonna hit DR?
We may stop in the DR. It seems to be Cap Cana is it'll be white hot, and then it'll be slow, and it used to be kind of the fall months, and you see some of these boats, Salty Fair in particular, go and stack them up in some oddball months. So I don't love the Cap Cana Marina sort of setup. I like Casa de Campo. I like, you can go shoot sporting clays, you can go play golf. But it's, it's rough.
All the food's really good.
The food's great. Restaurant scene's great. I mean, you feel like you're in a whole nother country, it's a different vibe than the rest of the Caribbean. And, it's, when I was there February, March, it just seemed it was rough every single day, and we'd get weathered out. We did some sword fishing in the lee there. I think it's called Siona, and so there's some options to do a little other fishing, but I just don't love Cap Cana Marina. I mean, there's the resorts there are nice. There's some nice hotels, but with this boat, we can all stay aboard, so we're going to be living, on the boat, and so we may stop off there for a little fishing, but I don't see us staying there for a long
I'm
period
pretty
of
sure
time.
that's where I met y'all, was Casa de Campo years ago.
Yep.
Which boat?
That
I was actually
gosh.
on the electric bill.
Oh, were you?
Yes, sir.
Chad's become a good friend, and he bought a house in Elbow, and we're building a house in Elbow, so we kind of
That's awesome.
talk sport fishing in Bahamas, and trying to get him to come to the Gulf and fish with us. And same thing with the bullpen owner.
You ought to.
Well, everybody, all of the Charleston guys seem kind of intrigued with the Gulf and the rigs, and none of them have done it. Yeah, they all want to come do it, and so we're gonna get them on the books, come fish. Hopefully,
Well,
sometime
I
in
look
the
forward
next
to hearing
couple
about
months.
that.
Okay. Did anyone have?
Bring back some new ideas.
It's a totally different fishery, and I mean it's the same fishery. It's just the style of fishing with the sonar. Well, we used to just camp out. We put trolling valves on and just two knotted or doing up current side of the rig, just waiting for the bite with the sonar on. Now we sonar and put teasers out and roll around the rigs, and sometimes we'll even put some lures on the longs. And you don't see every fish on the sonar. And
don't you call it firing?
We fire them down. We'll
fire them down.
I got a mark here. Let's run him over once and see if he'll tease up. I mean, sometimes he'll tease up and he won't switch, and we'll pull it out of gear and fire a tuna, a live bait down there and catch them that way. Sometimes we'll come circle back around and set up on them, and fire a bait down, and it's productive for sure.
I fished with a couple of golf guys. Alan McGee, he used to run the High Cotton.
Right.
Now he's running a boat called the Mustang. But anyway, he was in Costa Rica and just talking about fishing, because I've not been to the Gulf either. And it's like, well, with the sonar, why don't you do exactly what you just described? Like, just troll around, and then when you've got your mark, he's like, oh, Dewey, we call that firing, man.
Well, it's interesting when you get on these rigs, and sometimes you'll mark 4, 5, 6, 7 fish all hanging on the rigs. And I mean, we had a day probably 4 years ago. We caught 11 blue marlin on an overnight trip, and they're just me and the crew. And I think we caught 6 or 7 of them at the same rig. Just like, hey, I got another. Literally release one. We're getting situated, and the captain's like, hey, I got another mark over here. Y'all get ready. And it was just as fast as you. I think we caught 6 in the morning before noon or 1 o'clock. It was just as fast as you could.
That's epic fishing.
Yeah, and decent size fishing. I mean, 300-400 pounders,
not 100-pounder.
Right.
That's epic fishing.
So when it's on, it can be really good.
I've often wondered, because the South Carolina Governor's Cup tournament series, in the rules, you're allowed to live bait.
Oh, really?
But nobody knows how to live bait.
Well, I mean, having the rigs and the structure, I mean, it's a giant fad, right? I mean, we've talked about trying to live bait, fill our tubes we go to the Bahamas or somewhere, but I mean, you got to catch the bait. And,
sure.
We pull up to a rig and in an hour can jig up 20 blackfin and skippies, a bonita or whatever, and fill the tubes.
Sure.
I mean, you got to find some structure or some open water bait to catch the liveys first.
I understand making bait can be difficult anywhere, but
it could be your game changer for sure.
It's still a fun idea, though. I've always said I want to be the reason. I want to be the reason that they change the rules.
Change the rules.
You might have to go have some real shitty fishing for a while.
No, I mean like piss everybody off because we went and sacked them up.
Hey, if you run one over and you got a livey, it's almost guaranteed bite,
right?
Yeah, or at least a guaranteed attempt. Yeah.
But how does it work, Chris? So you're going over. Are you trolling with lures or dead baits or something in the water, and you then mark them, and then you put down a live bait one, or are you just kind of prospecting, looking around,
we'll, run around the rig at normal trolling speed, 7 knots or whatever. And we've got typically squid chains with chase baits. And sometimes we'll have the dredges out too. And, we usually try to run them over a time or two and see if we can raise them. And, if we can't, we'll pull it all in and drop a live bait. And, we won't camp out on them, and we'll give them 20 minutes, and you track them on the radar, and you can see if they're coming in. And a lot of boats have different philosophies. Some rig hop big time, or rig to rig to rig. Some people kind of camp out at one rig if it looks good. We like to fish away from a crowd, so we find a rig where there's no boats, and we mark a fish or two. We'll stay there, and kind of wait it out. And I'm a big believer in the majors and the minors, and we'll watch the feeding periods, and we may stay at a rig through the major and then make a move. But the Gulf fishing, it's a lot about studying the currents and the upwellings, and we're, Hiltons and Ross.
I was about to ask what
rip charts.
I'm assuming you're using like all of the software.
All of that. But you're looking for current, if you pull up to a rig and it's dead, there's no water moving, you might as well move on, in my opinion. It's just, you need some current. You're looking at water temp, and, if the loop current's coming in close. I mean, there's just a lot of.
Are you looking at chlorophyll and like the Fido levels and stuff?
I don't know. Kyle's really good at all that stuff, and I kind of stay out of that. I don't ever.
Gotcha.
Very, very rarely do I say I think we ought to fish here. I usually say, where are we going today? And that's his. He's got a network of people that that fish out of Venice that he knows, and we get intel, and we've had people that work on rigs giving us intel.
That's epic.
And it's it takes a lot to go catch the right fish and win these tournaments. But I think a lot of these guys that really stack up numbers in the Gulf every tournament, they are really good at reading the water, reading the current.
I was just curious if you had like a specific piece of software that you favored.
But I would say, Kyle, again, I'm not looking at all that stuff. To me, the ROFS is easy to read because it's just a 2-page document, and it's graphical. Kyle can get into the intricacies of Hilton's. Now with Starlink, we can log in offshore and check the Hilton satellite shot from the day before. Hell, some of the new stuff on our Furuno as part of our electronics shows current on the screen. It's amazing.
I'm assuming you'll have the 10 and
some of the. We do, and it's a little bit of a learning curve, but I'd say Kyle's got it figured out. And we put that P70, whatever, the Panoptics. It's kind of side scan transducer, and that's pretty cool technology.
Very cool.
Awesome. I think that's the podcast. Did anyone have any other questions?
No, it was a pleasure having you on, Chris. I appreciate your time.
That was super cool.
Chris, thank you
very much.
Super
Very
cool.
Excited to see what you guys
Amazing
get up
boat.
to.
Excited to see it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll see you somewhere down the road.
Somewhere
It's
down
crazy.
the dusty trail.
Or you cross paths with people that, I can't tell how many times I was like, oh, I met you in the DR like 8 seasons ago, or weren't you parked next to us at the custom shootout?
I just said that.
Yeah.
I know. I can't tell you how many times I said, oh, don't you remember that season in Casa de Campo that we hung out at the dock and the boats that were there, and, Robbie Moore and Devin on the shoe, and there's just all these guys that I keep. Jimmy Whirling I met at this custom shootout, and he's become a friend, and you make friends with dock neighbors, and it's kind of part of the whole fraternity of it all.
It's a small world, ain't it?
All over the world.
One of the coolest parts of that industry is you see the same guys that you see in New Jersey, that you see in Mexico, that you see in the Caribbean. It's a really cool aspect of it for sure.
That you see in Cabo.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And
Awesome.
good luck,
Thank
Chris.
you.
All right, boys.
All right. Thanks,
Have a
guys.
good one.
Season.
All right. Take care.
See ya.